Welcome back. In our final session, you're going to connect the dots between your life story, personality, gifts, and passion.
So we end where we began, with the understanding that you were built to count, as water is made to run downhill. You are placed in a specific context to count in ways that no one else does. That is your destiny. So I hope by now, after all these sessions, you have a better understanding of the idea of calling and destiny. And maybe it is starting to come together for you. In just a moment, we're going to actually start connecting the dots of the different aspects of your life. And so you might be able to even, who knows, before you walk away, craft maybe a statement that describes what you believe to be your calling. But before we do, let me do a little review with you. I suggested from the very beginning that all of us begin our lives climbing the first mountain. And the goal of climbing the first mountain is we want to establish our identity in this world, and we want to achieve the American dream. But inevitably, something happens to us, whether it's tragedy or pain or disappointment, failure, midlife crisis, whatever it is, and we end up in this place of bewilderment. And a lot of people try to reclimb the first mountain, but instead, what would be much better is if we start to climb the second mountain, which is the mountain of destiny, which is the mountain where you discover your unique contribution to the world, where you matter, like water running downhill. You find your destiny. Now, I told you that I believe that people can find their destiny by looking at these two overlapping truths: the awesome truth that you matter and that you are unique, and that the awful truth that the world is a mess. And where they intersect is your destiny. Now, we have been trying to discover your destiny by looking in depth at those four elements in your life. We talked about your life story. We talked about your personality as what we discovered in the Berkman. We talked about your skills, and you took notes on, you transferred these to your calling quilt. And then we just got done talking about your passions. And by now, you should have a calling quilt that's got essentially a good part of your life right in front of you. The next step for us is then to connect the dots between your life story and your personality and your gifts and your passions, and see what they tell you about what your destiny might be. Now, this is complicated, it's a little mystical, and you got to think through it. So before we actually go through the process ourselves, and I help you walk through this, I want you to see a demonstration of a time I sat down with one of our ATO brothers and walked through his calling quilt with him. And I think it'll give you a good illustration of what it means to connect the dots and discover your calling. So watch this demonstration, and then we'll talk about you in a few moments.